everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So I finally decided I was gonna make my first video. I had created my YouTube channel about 3 weeks ago and I just was super busy with school and work, and then this whole coronavirus situation came upon and I was like, you know what, I'm at home, I have nothing to do, so let me create a video where I share with you guys my favorite products and the products that I gravitate towards the most, and create a makeup look with it. So if you guys would like to see how I created this look, just keep on watching. Okay, so I have already prepped my skin. I put on my moisturizer and my eye cream, so I'm all set to go. I'm going to start off with my primer. So this one obviously has been used and abused. I love this primer because usually on days like today where I wake up with a lot of I don't necessarily think they're breakouts, but they're like little rashes that I feel like I get just because of stress, and then they usually go away after I wash my face, and this primer actually helps smooth all that out so you can't see it through my makeup, which is really important. And then I usually just distribute. I do use a lot of this primer just because I like to distribute it evenly throughout my whole face, especially my nose area where I have the most pores. Okay, and then next, my most used foundation will be my Nars. And then this one, I'm in the shade M1, so it's medium 1. I love this foundation just because I feel like I get all the coverage I need and I don't feel too dry. I sometimes have really dry skin, and then there's others that I feel like I have really oily skin, and I feel like this one, if I kind of pair it with another primer, if I have oily skin, I kind of just mattify it and it works perfectly. And then I'm going to apply it. The way I like to apply this foundation is with the brush, just because it has so much coverage that I like to lay it out. I'll zoom in, that way you guys can see. Look at how pretty that is. And then with this foundation, I usually do 2 to 3 pumps. Because I feel dry, I'm going to be using my Rose Gold Elixir from Frisali. So I'm going to go ahead and just mix half a pump of the Nars in with the Frisali at the end. And then I'll mix it in there. And then I'll reapply it on my skin. Foundation is done. I'm going to grab my brush so I can do my concealer, and then my most used concealer will be the e.l.f. This one's a full coverage one. Let's see, why isn't it focusing? There it is. This concealer is full coverage. It is pretty matte, so I do recommend, if you have super dry skin, to just add a little bit of oil in it, just kind of like the way I did with my foundation. With concealer underneath my eyes, because I do use the Ole Hendrickson eye cream, I feel like it moisturizes and hydrates my under eyes, so I don't really have to put oil in this. And then I just use, this is my favorite concealer brush. It's the one from Morphe Jeffree Star collection. This one's the JS3. I love this brush. I recommend everybody getting it. Also, all the products that I am mentioning of my most used, you can still purchase these. That way, if you do want to try them out, you can always go to either Ulta or Sephora to pick them up. Now, next for my most used setting powder, it's going to be my Laura Mercier, which we already know what this one looks like. And then I'm just going to use an under eye brush to set it all together. I absolutely love this setting powder. I remember purchasing this setting powder a long time ago, and I felt like it didn't do much for my skin, but it's probably because I only gave it one chance, and then I was like, oh no, I don't like it. And then I repurchased it recently, like, not like recently, maybe like last year. And now I'm like obsessed with this powder. Okay, once that is set, then I like to do my face powder. So this one is the Sephora Micro Smooth Radiant powder. This powder is so good. I love it. It actually like gives you a little bit of coverage with your foundation. But what I like about this one is that it smooths everything out. Your foundation looks super smooth. Of applying the powder so you can see how smooth it looks. I like to tap and pat this in and then kind of like move it around. And now I'm going to move on to my bronzer. So I love this bronzer. I'm super obsessed. This one is in Private Island by Fenty. This one's really nice because it's really subtle and it doesn't feel like it's too overwhelming on the skin. I don't like looking orange with my bronzer, and I do feel like with this one it just kind of just sits there really pretty. And then I usually never have a problem with this ever not lasting. I remember I used to buy bronzers that I feel like would not last. Like, I love the Hoola bronzer, but I feel like that one doesn't last on my skin the way this one does. This one's kind of like a dupe for the Hoola, I feel. And I like to do the top of my forehead. I also like to do the bottom. I'm usually very messy with my bronzer, and then I use the Laura Mercier setting powder to clean it up, and then it looks really nice. Okay, bronzer is done, and then for nose contour I still use that same bronzer, and then I just contour the nose. This is a Morphe E62 brush. This brush is literally perfect. It literally fits the nose perfectly. Then I just bring it up. Okay, and now for blush, I really like the MAC Gingerly. I always kind of alternate between the Gingerly and the Peaches, but I really like this like terracotta kind of blush. It like really matches my bronzer really nice, especially when I use the Fenty one. Okay, and then now I like to go back in with my setting powder, and then I'll just use like a Real Techniques sponge and just carve it. I feel like this kind of makes or breaks my makeup. If I don't do this, I don't feel like I did my makeup right. And just let it sit there. In the meantime, I do the rest of my face. Next, I'm going to go in with my Morphe brow pencil. So I'm in the shade Java in the Morphe pencil. I love this pencil. It's so good. It's so affordable. I go through pencils fairly quickly, so I always want to make sure like I don't buy a pencil that isn't going to last me, and this one does last me a really good amount of time. And then for my brows, I always just like to brush and flick my hair up first. So I always like to just do a line first, and then I fill in. That way I can see and make sure they're on the same kind of length on both sides. And then after that, then I'll start doing hair stroke little flicks onto my hair. And then I like to start at the edge and then just flick it up. And then once I've done that, where I feel like I've filled the whole brow, then I'll just use the spoolie and brush up the whole product. That way, I feel like this is the most natural way I can get my brows to look. And then I'll just flick until I've distributed all the product. If I feel like here I could maybe add a little bit more, then I just add a little bit. And then I just keep flicking it up. And then I just add a little bit more product here. Flick. And then I'll do the same to the other side. Perfect. And then to clean the brows, I always use my Shape Tape. I'm in the shade Light Neutral. So I like to use this concealer to carve out my brows with a brush. I can get right onto that brow and right into that last. So I start here at the edge with that last hair. And then I move my way. I do like that straight brow, so I just go straight down until I get to my arch, which is here. And once I get to my arch, then I'll usually just carve it down. Sometimes people like to keep it straight even through here, but I like to carve it at my arch. And then once I have already cleaned up the whole brow, I'll use that same flat brush and I will distribute the product downward. And then after I use a Morphe M173 brush. I like to just kind of clean up that area, and then I will be putting more concealer on for my base for my eyeshadow, but for now I'm just going to clean it up. That way, like I said, it won't be too much excess product on here. And then for my brow setter, it's going to be the 24-hour brow setter from Benefit. I really like this one because it's clear, so it doesn't add more color or product to the brows. So I like to just flick up my brow and then kind of flick it back down the hair, down the brow. And then I'll do the other side. And then what I like about this brow setter is that it doesn't leave your brows feeling like stuck. Like you can still, like look, I can still move my hair around and it doesn't feel like the hair is like completely stuck on there, if that makes sense. I know, like I've tried the Anastasia one and it left my brow feeling like crunchy, and I do not like that at all. And then I'll go back in with my spoolie to kind of make sure I distribute all that product around to all my brows in the same motion that I did with the setter. And that is how I do my brows. So for my base, I'm going to use my Shape Tape. I really like this because it doesn't crease on the eyelid. Your shadow lasts all day. It's full coverage, so it's a plus for me because I do have veins, and you could definitely see those veins in the eyelid if I don't do a base. And then I'm going to use my same brush that I used to clean up the concealer earlier with the brows. So I like to pack it on pretty quickly just because it is matte, so it does dry right away. And then I like to do a packing motion with this, not necessarily like the windshield wiper, just because the product will move around and then you won't be able to just place it nicely when it comes to the eyeshadow. And then for my most used eyeshadow palette will probably have to be the Soft Glam. I feel like I use this palette for everything. You can create like a really cute like day look, you can create a night look, you can do anything with this palette. I love it. This is probably my most used palette. Back again, so we're gonna go in with Burnt Orange, which is this one right here, and we're gonna go all over our eyelid with that one. So I'm going to start at the crease and then distribute it. Shade I'm going to go in is going to be with Sienna, which is going to be this one right here. For this one, I'm going to use more of an angled brush so that I can get right into my crease. And then I'm going to start at the bottom of my crease and work my way up. And then I'm also, after I've already worked this color into my crease, I'm going to bring it in deeper down the crease. And then I'm going to go back in with that first brush just to make sure everything's clean. I'm just going to, right over the crease, I'm going to blend that out. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. My crease, I'm going to be using, I think I'm going to do Mulberry, which is this one right here. And then I'm just going to kind of pack that on a little bit more onto the crease. And then I'm going to bring that in again like I did with the second shade. And bring it into that crease area. And then with that first brush that I did when I used burnt orange, I'm going to just kind of blend all that out. And then for my inner corner, I'm going to be using, I'll do Fairy, which is this one right here. This color is so pretty. This one right here, I use Fairy for my inner corner. This I like to spray. I always have my Mario Rose Water, and I'll just spray a little bit on that brush. That way it picks up more product. And then I'll just put it on the whole inner corner area. And then usually I do cut my crease, but today I decided to not. I want it to be more of a natural glitter eye. I just kind of use that same brush to create a cut crease. And then I'll do the same with the other eye. And then I will use the brush that I used to do Rustic, and then I'm going to go ahead and blend those shades together. Perfect. So then now I'm going to go in with a small under eye brush, and I'm going to mix in Sienna and Mulberry together, and I'm going to put that on the bottom. Perfect, and that completes our eyeshadow. And then I'm going to go in with the highlighter. So the highlighter that I use, I always use whatever highlighter I put on my face is going to be the one that I put in my inner corner. So I'm going to be using the Ofra Rodeo Drive. And then I'm going to get a small brush and go in and put it into my inner corner. Then I'll do the same to the other side. And then I always just use the brush that I use to set my translucent powder. So I'll use that same brush to dust off any excess product. And I've never had a problem with it like messing up or anything. I just dust that product over. And this is the reason why I don't like to do highlight right after I do my blush, just because I have the ability to like just dust off all that product. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of that highlight, the Rodeo Dry highlight, onto my brow bone. Just a little bit. I don't like to go crazy on my brow bone. I don't know if you can see. There it is. First eyeshadow brush that I use, I'm going to use that to kind of blend that highlight and the first shade. And then I'm going to go in with my mascara. So this one's still fairly new. This one is the Fenty mascara. This one's still fairly new, but I have been using it. I have a lot of mascaras that I tend to toss out after a few weeks, but this one, I've been using it regularly and I love it. When I put on lashes, I don't like a mascara that's going to be too much, so I like being able to use the lengthening side when I use my lashes so that they blend in. And then when I don't wear lashes, I like to use a volumizing side so that it makes my lashes look a lot longer and fuller. I just like having this mascara for the ability to do both. And then I'm going to apply my lashes and I'll be right back. Okay, and I finally got my lashes on, so I'm going to be using the Bxtra Beauty lashes. These are in Icy. These are really pretty. So those are the lashes I'm wearing. And then now for the under eyes, I like to wait until I've already put my setting spray and then I'll do my mascara at the bottom, just because if not, I tend to get it on the bottom and then it's a whole mess. So then now this is the time where I can finally dust off my translucent powder. And see how pretty that looks, that line. I love it. So I have already dusted my powder. I love this setting spray. The setting spray is so freaking good. It smells so good. I'm obsessed with it. I need to purchase a new one because there's like none left in here. So I'm gonna first spray this all over my face. It's so refreshing and hydrating. I love it. And then I'm going to go in with my Rodeo Dry from Ofra. And now it's perfect because my skin is moist. And it's going to be able to pick up that highlighter so pretty. I'll do some on my nose. And then I'll do a little bit on the temples of my forehead. Okay, and then after I put on my highlight, then I like to go back in with my bronzer brush and just kind of blend those two together so that they look like they're not like three different things, not a blush, a bronzer, and then a highlight. And then I just kind of mix them all together. And then I'll go back in with my, this is the part where I like to go in with my all-nighter to make sure I lock and seal everything. And then this is the part where I like to go in with my mascara and then do my bottom lashes. And then for my lip combo, I'm going to do the KKW in Nude 2 lip liner. And then I'm going to do my Kat Von D in Bow and Arrow. I love these lip combos just because I like a good nude.